Hi guys, it's Grace with Grace Gets Gastric. Today is Tuesday, May 5th, 2020, and I am here today for a monthly update. So this is 28 months post-op VSG and about 3 months post-op plastic surgery. So to start us off with my little spiel, again, my name is Grace. I am 5'8", 29 years old, and on January 2nd, 2018, I had the vertical sleeve gastrectomy or VSG weight loss surgery. My highest weight ever recorded was 354 pounds in May of 2017, and I was required by my insurance to do a 6-month medically supervised weight loss diet, and over the course of that 6 months, I lost 35 pounds, so my starting weight date of surgery was 319 pounds. Over the course of about a year and a half, I lost over 120 pounds, maintained in the low 190s for about 6 months, and on January 29th, 2020, I had plastic surgery in Tijuana, Mexico with Dr. Alejandro Galvez. I had a extended tummy tuck from hip to hip, a fleur-de-lis, which is a vertical incision. I had a reverse tummy tuck, so the incision right under the breasts. I had a breast lift / reduction, and I had a bra line back lift with 2-zone lipo on my lower back. So that brings us to today. So like I said, it's 28 months post-op VSG, 3 months, about 3 months, a little over 3 months post-op plastic surgery. And so this morning I weighed in at 195.1. So that is a loss since my VSG of 123.9 pounds. And I totally forgot to calculate this before this video. So I'll put on screen what the loss is since my highest weight, 150 something, 160 something in there, in that range. So it's been, it feels like it's been ages, but it's really been just 2 weeks since my last update when I said I was going to move to monthly updates. And I decided I wanted to do those basically the first Tuesday of the month, since I did have my VSG on the first Tuesday of the year. And I had my plastic surgery at the end of the month, so they're pretty close together. So generally speaking, you know, I can kind of group them together and it'll be similar. Anyways, so hello, hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well, and I hope May is going great for you. I am feeling better than I have been, but I don't know if it's not a weird space so much, like mentally I'm feeling a lot better, but I'm just in a state of flux. I'm very contemplative. I'm just thinking about a lot of things. So first, just want to mention, I talked a while ago about how my car was destroyed. And it's fixed now, which is great because it was in the shop for a while and I was basically stranded in my apartment, which is not super fun, but my car is back, so that's great. I was cleared to work out at the end of April. And so I have been, this is my 3rd week doing strength training again, which I'm really excited about. Working out at home is not my favorite, and I don't have the weight set up to really be able to work out as hard as I would like, or, you know, lift as heavy. So that isn't my favorite, but I actually have been, it's been easier to stay consistent with strength training at home than I thought it was going to be. I was a little worried because I hate working out at home. But I've been doing the Stephanie Buttermore at home program. Right now I'm doing the 3-day beginner one, which is a little bit too easy for me, but I do not have the equipment to do the other programs. I just don't have enough weights, strong enough weights, and I can't really get them because I do not want to cross the picket line. There are people, you know, employees are striking at Amazon, at Target, and so those are the 2 places that are the most convenient for me to buy things like that. And I don't really want to make a huge investment in that kind of thing either, because I am hoping that this won't be a long-term, well, won't be forever, essentially, that we will eventually be able to go back to the gym. And I do not plan, you know, once we can go back to the gym again, I don't think I would get much use out of that equipment. So it is something, and you know, that's good. Sorry, going to have a little bit of my protein coffee. So the big thing, I feel like maybe this is common for a lot of us, but I've been going through different phases of, I don't know, getting into stuff since I have so much free time, it feels like. You know, I got really into fashion, not in a like I'm into fashion kind of way, but in a trying to find out my style, making lists of like the kind of stuff I want to buy. And I've kind of passed that, in that I am at a point right now where I do not want to, I have a couple of things still coming that I ordered like months ago, not quite months, maybe a month ago, but because of shipping, you know, they're still coming. So I still do have stuff coming, which I'm excited about, but I don't really want to purchase much more. One, I want to reduce my reliance on online shopping in general, and specifically at this time, just given the stress on the system it puts with the pandemic. And I don't want to necessarily be spending a lot of money on these items. I want to buy them over a slower amount of time. I am planning to purchase high quality items that will last me for a long time. That does generally mean they are slightly more expensive. I would love to thrift a lot of this stuff. I think you can find great stuff at thrift stores. I think after this, the thrift stores are going to be popping because everyone is going through all of their stuff and is going to be donating. I certainly am. So I'm just putting basically a hold on doing any more shopping until we can actually like leave our homes and I can actually wear my stuff out in public and all of that stuff. My stepmom has a bunch of stuff that she thinks may be in my size that I'm going to go, once we can see people again, I'm going to go up and try things on. She's shorter than me and, you know, generally has smaller bones than I do. So I'm thinking a lot of the stuff probably won't fit. She was also much thinner than me in her youth. So I don't know if anything is going to actually fit, but it might give me an idea of kind of styles and stuff. And, you know, reusing when you can is always the best. So that was a very long-winded thing to say. I got really into the fashion stuff, but I've sort of stopped looking too much into it because I don't want to be getting really excited about stuff that I can't really become invested in. Though, if you guys are interested in me showing off, doing like another try-on thing, a try-on haul when all my stuff comes, let me know because I can totally do that. I think they're fun. But the other thing that I have been getting more invested in is sustainability. And this is actually something that I've been passionate about for a very long time. It is my dream job to be working in corporate social responsibility. It's something that I was really into in college and I still am into, but I've been becoming more interested in really taking it seriously in terms of my impact on the world. So looking at ways to reduce waste, you know, I've talked about that in like my makeup hauls where I've been talking about how I want to phase out cotton pads and face wipes, and just generally reducing my waste output, particularly my use of plastics and single-use plastics. And one of the big things that I've been struggling with is diet. So like most bariatric patients and, you know, for me in particular, while I have never been super low carb, I have always been very high protein. I like a high protein diet. I feel good on a high protein diet. And I love meat. I love meat. I love dairy. And yeah, I mean, I have a fairly, you know, I would say, I don't know, extremely high protein is the word, but you know, 150 grams of protein is quite a lot based on, you know, what we really need. Obviously, like have a goal to put on muscle and strength train right now. That's not really happening, but it is probably more than I need. It is definitely more than I need, but I like it. And, yeah, I feel good on that, and it's satiating and all that stuff. But, and I've struggled with this for a long time, but it's becoming more acute lately. I think as I get farther out from surgery, just knowing the stress and the impact that a animal protein heavy diet has on the environment and the world. And, this is by no means, I am by no means trying to preach anything to anyone. Everyone, I think, needs to make their own choices for them. So please do not take this as at all a criticism on whatever diet that you personally are doing or feeling. This is something that I have been personally struggling with. And I really want to find a way to balance my nutrition and how I see food with my ethics and then my my more moral stance on you know, living a life that is more environmentally conscious. And that necessarily means reducing the amount of animal proteins I consume. And if I'm doing that, it means I'm going to need to increase the amount of carbs that I'm consuming, because I could also increase fat, but realistically, a lot of fat sources are do come from the animal proteins that I consume. And also I think that the amount of vegetables and fruits that in my diet has been quite low since I had surgery, because obviously I focus on protein first, and I have been adding more veggies in particular into my diet, but particularly over in the second year after surgery. For the first year, and again, this is all, I'm at a point now I think where I can start to really play with it. So yeah, I'm thinking that a lot of foods that have been no-goes in my diets, like pasta and rice and all of those things, I think I don't want to be consuming refined carbs. I don't think that those are doing much for me nutritionally. They don't. But I think whole grains there's nothing wrong with those for me. And I have noticed those are not the kinds of things that are triggering overconsumption of food. I'm not going crazy when I have a bowl of oatmeal. I'm going crazy when I eat a bunch of cookies, So I think kind of my fear has overly restricted my diet, and yeah, I'm still mulling it over. I'm still thinking it over, but I do think that I'm going to be changing things up over here in terms of what I'm eating. I'm thinking, I'm committing. I'm not thinking. I know this is what I want to do. I want to no longer be purchasing red meat. I still will eat it because I love it, but I think that in terms of my consumption of red meat, I'm going to be limiting that to when I go out to restaurants, or if I am at my parents' house and my dad makes, he makes some amazing steaks and all that stuff. But I just don't think, I think red meat is one of the most detrimental to the environment foods that you can consume. And so I think just reducing my consumption of that by just not purchasing it is a good way a good way to have an impact. I still have a ton of stuff in my freezer. I'll still be eating it as I go out, but I think generally speaking, I want to move towards a more flexitarian way of eating. And that is, flexitarian is generally a mostly vegetarian diet where you do consume meat products, and that's not a big deal. You'll have meat a couple of times a week, or maybe every day a week, but only for one meal. I'm nowhere near ready to do that right now, but I do think that in general, reducing the amount of meat that I'm consuming is going to be better, more in line with my ethics, and figuring out a way to do that, slowly, in a way that doesn't totally throw off my eating or my nutrition goals either. So that's kind of my big focus right now. The other thing is, and it kind of falls in line with that, is just, I do not regret having the VSG. I think it was the right choice for me. I am very grateful for what it did for me, for the ability to lose weight and all of that. I love it. It was great. But I think in a lot of ways, it really fucked up my relationship with food. And obviously, I did not have a super healthy relationship with food to begin with. Generally speaking, for me, I did not become 350 pounds because I had a super healthy relationship with food. I was using it to deal with emotions. That was primarily, right? I would just eat my feelings, basically. And also, I just had a big stomach, and it took a lot to fill me up. But the hyper awareness of what I'm eating, the stats of everything, tracking things, being so, it really caused me to start thinking about food more stringently in terms of good and bad, which I think is a false dichotomy. And while I would not say that I am a binge eater by any means, it has made those tendencies it is, surface some of those tendencies that I never struggled with before VSG. Basically, I think that it has changed my struggles in relationship to food, but it has not eliminated them. And if anything, I think it has changed them and in some ways made them worse, because while I I'm consider myself a success story. I'm over 2 years out. I am more or less maintaining my weight loss. I do. There's an obsession almost with appearance and the scale and what I'm putting in my body that I don't really think is how I want to live my life. And so I've also been thinking a lot about I don't like the term body positivity, just because I don't, the way that the movement is, I don't know. I have some issues with the movement. Maybe fat activism is a better term. I follow a lot of fat activists, not a lot, a few fat activists on Instagram, and I've talked before about how being classified, I'm being fat my entire adult life. I have been straight size for a fraction of the time that I was considered fat. And I wasn't just I was super fat. I wasn't like a small fat. And that has shaped me. And I've said before that I was not miserable. I was not super unhappy. And I'm not someone who thinks that it's impossible for someone to be okay with what they look like or who they are at a bigger size. I think that we have a lot of issues that we need to combat in terms of discrimination against fat people, regardless of, I don't know. I have a lot of feelings about it, and I've been thinking a lot critically about my own fat phobia. And while I do not in any way regret losing the weight, I think that people's health is nobody's business. Like, it's not my business, your health status. And if you are unhealthy, that is not my business. I don't think I can make assumptions about your health based on just looking at you. And if you're at higher risk for diseases or, health risks because of your weight, that is not my business. That is not my concern. I have no right to have any thoughts about that. But of course, your own health is your own business. And so I do not regret losing weight because I did have health risks that I've reduced, and I am eternally grateful for that. I think that was the right move for me. I don't think that everyone else has to make that choice. It's individual, it's up to them. And I have, I've bounced up since my plastics. I'm lower than the weight I was when I had plastic surgery. By like a pound, by a pound and a half or so. So it's not like I'm up from then, but considering they removed 15 pounds of skin, obviously there is still some bloat, but some of this is actual weight gain from that point. But, I'm still fitting into clothes. I'm basically at the same weight I've been for the past almost a year. So in the scheme of things, I'm not really gaining weight, but that mental struggle of being at the same weight I was when I had plastic surgery, despite the fact that I've had all that skin removed, is messing with me more than I want it to, because I think that obsession with the number and feeling like a failure is false, and it gives this equivalency to the idea of failing, like being fat as a failure. I am starting to really struggle with that as a message. And so, I don't know. I feel like a lot of my feelings right now are pretty controversial within the weight loss surgery community, which is partially why I've not been super active on Instagram either. And I already told you, I wasn't posting much here for a bunch of reasons, and this is just kind of more reasons why it kind of feels weird to be posting in this community, because I don't know if I am going to be able to give people the kind of, inspiration, the kind of mindset that maybe they are looking for given this particular niche community, because I guess I'm just struggling. I have these two sort of competing thoughts in that I thought like weight loss surgeries changed my life. I love it. It was one of the best things I've ever done for myself. I do think for me, despite the fact that I wasn't unhappy before, my quality of life has skyrocketed. There are so many more things that I wanted to be able to do that I just couldn't do to my size. And so I am so grateful for the fact that I can now do it. But that's the thing. I am now at a point where there is nothing I want to do that I can't do. Any more weight loss that I want is entirely motivated by fat phobia, essentially, because I don't hate the way that I look. There's no physical activities that I can't do. There's nothing I can't fit into. I'm straight size. But there is still this desire to keep losing and to have that strive and focus. And I don't want to be that person. And I don't want to be so afraid of fat that I obsess over it and I make that such a huge part of my life, because that's just not what I want. Weight loss was a big focus for me for the past several years, and to a lesser extent my entire life. But I've gotten to a weight, I'm right on the cusp of overweight and obese, to be honest. For my height, I think another 5 pounds pushes me into the obese category. So I'm at the high end of overweight, I think, right now. And for my height, so like that, but like the BMI has a fucking messed up history. It's racist. It's arbitrary. Anyways, I feel like this video is a little bit all over the place. I could talk forever because, like I said, I'm still figuring it out. I'm always figuring things out. No one on the internet has it figured out. But I'm still, like I said, I have conflicting feelings about stuff. Sometimes it feels like I have thoughts and ideas that are in direct opposition to each other, and there's some cognitive dissonance there. And so that is basically where I'm at, is figuring out how I feel about my diet, figuring out how I feel about my body, about the concept of fat and weight loss and fat phobia and all of that stuff. So, super light stuff over here. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope for you guys who watched all of this, thank you so much. You guys have been amazing. I've really appreciated every single person who has been there since the beginning with me. And I don't know what the future of this channel holds. Like I said, I still plan to be posting semi-regularly, monthly updates for now, at least. And then I have other videos, as you've been seeing, that I've been posting that are not weekly update related. But, yeah, my thoughts and my feelings are continuing to evolve around all of this. So you might be seeing some different kinds of content. So if you're here for that, I'd love to have you. But yeah, no worries if this is not what you guys need right now either. Anyways, I hope you all are doing well. Times continue to be really weird, and so I hope you are doing whatever it is that you need to stay safe and happy and healthy and sane. And I'll talk to you all in my next video, which will be hopefully very soon. All right, guys. Bye.